नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं डॉक्टर बसुधा। आज टीचर्स डे के खास मौके पर आप सबको हमारे चैनल थिंक टैंक इंडिया पर स्वागत करते हैं। इस प्रोग्राम में हम जिस बारे में बात करने जा रहे हैं वो आज कोई डिस्कशन वगैरह नहीं होंगे। आज टोटली डिफरेंट तरह के प्रोग्राम होंगे। आज हम तीनों, आज टीचर्स डे है, आज टीचर स्टूडेंट रिलेशनशिप पे बात करेंगे। क्योंकि मैं जिस स्टेट में रहती हूँ बंगाल में, कुछ ही दिन से एजुकेशन को लेके बहुत ही झमेला देख रहे हैं, रैगिंग को लेके देख रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट की डेथ हो रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं, कल ही हमने देखा छोटी सी बच्ची के हमारे स्टेट में डेथ हो गया कलकत्ता में, क्योंकि वो प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाए। वो अपने स्कूल की छत से जंप करके सुसाइड कर लिया। ऐसा क्यों होने जा रहा है? इस बारे में बात करने के लिए मेरे साथ आज मौजूद है विकास धवन जी। विकास धवन जी को इससे पहले भी आप हमारे चैनल पे देख चुके हैं। विकास धवन जी मशहूर एंटरप्रेन्योर है, आईटी इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े थे। इसके अलावा वो सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट के साथ भी जुड़े हुए हैं। उसके खुद का बिजनेस होते हुए भी वो एक विजिटिंग प्रोफेसर के तौर पर बहुत इंडिया के बहुत टॉप इंस्टीट्यूशंस और यूनिवर्सिटीज में स्टूडेंट्स को पढ़ाते हैं। और इसके साथ स्टूडेंट्स का डेली इंटरेक्ट भी होते हैं। ये जानते हैं स्टूडेंट्स का मेंटेलिटी को, वो इस बारे में बोलेंगे। और ये लोग तो सब खुद, ये लोग से हम सभी खुद स्टूडेंट्स लाइफ एक टाइम जी चुके हैं। हम अपना एक्सपीरियंस भी शेयर करेंगे। और दूसरे हमारे साथ सुमित मोइत्रा जी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं। सुमित जी, पहली बार के हमारे चैनल पे बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपकी। ये मशहूर जर्नलिस्ट है। इसके अलावा ये और भी फील्ड से जुड़े हुए हैं। ये खुद ही बोलेंगे कौन से फील्ड से जुड़े हुए हैं। सुमित जी, आपको भी हमारे चैनल पे स्वागत है।
Thank you for
तो
inviting me. Yeah,
और आज
please.
मैं पहली सुमित जी से स्टार्ट करेंगे, क्योंकि पहली बार ये आ रहे हैं हमारे चैनल पे। तो सुमित जी, आप पहले आपका इंट्रोडक्शन दीजिए और आप बताइए, आज टीचर्स डे है, सारे तरफ टीचर स्टूडेंट्स में जैसे लग रहे हैं एकदम फूलों देने वाली रिलेशन है। लेकिन ऐसे क्या सचमुच होते हैं टीचर स्टूडेंट्स में? कि ऐसे है गुरुकुल के जमाने में जैसे थे, उस जमाने से आज तक जो आए हैं प्रोफेशनल फील्ड के जमाना हो गया। एजुकेशन आज एक बड़े बिजनेस हो गया है। टीचर स्टूडेंट रिलेशनशिप क्या ऐसे रहे हैं? क्योंकि आज हम
Sure,
देखते हैं स्कूल की टीचर्स को प्राइवेट ट्यूशन लेते हैं स्टूडेंट्स का।
sure. Okay. Yeah, let me first introduce myself. I am Sumit Moitra from Calcutta. I've been a journalist, you were right, for all my working life. I've been a journalist. But now I am associated with a Tata Group company where I not only deal is close to being called. What I do is close to the field of journalism, but not exactly. I mostly serve clients with data and analysis. Uh, so you can say I am part journalist, part data analyst kind of a thing. But beyond that, I've been an educator, right? Mm, I take private classes for students all over the world. My kind of education, the kind of thing I teach, can be broadly put in the field of cognitive development and critical and creative thinking. Uh, so, where do these subjects come from? Whether I am an expert or not, just to touch upon. See, my association with these topics are not theoretical, not I am a professor kind of a thing or with any institution, no, but I have been a journalist, which helped me to interact very knowledgeable, very intelligent people all over the world. right? So I've been visited places like US, China, European countries, Korea, Singapore, and I've been to conferences, meeting a group of a large group of very diverse professionals from across the world. So that opened my mind and triggered my interest in education. So what I learned from all these people from all over the world, I'm trying to now share with my students. I've been associated with few institutions. I serve on the board of studies of two institutions, one an university and another one is a management and engineering institutions. Mm, and recently I've ventured into startup mentoring and I've been inducted as a mentor for startups in a program which is being run by Stanford University, where I am currently, advising a very promising startup from Karnataka. So, that you can also call it kind of an education, right? Helping, educating others. That this is my association with the education field, and I'm also a graphic storyteller, what you call creator of graphic stories. My books are
सर
available.
थोड़ा छोटे करके बताइए,
Sure, sure, sure. Okay,
सिर्फ
sorry.
प्रिसाइजली हमारे टाइम की थोड़ा.
Okay, okay. So coming back to the issues, you touched upon a very topical development, right? But then you also referred to the ideas of Gurukul, the ancient way of learning, whether this is different from the current situation where we are now. See, to understand this is a very complex issue. It should not be, mixed or influenced by very recent development. So we have to understand the core of the issue. And putting it very briefly, my understanding is that, see, any relation in our world, okay, be it personal, be it professional, be it between a teacher and a student, you can call that relation between a teacher and a student a personal relation or a professional relation, depending upon your perspective. That's a relation, okay. Every relation in the world depends upon the power equation, right? How much power each party in a relation holds, that defines the relation, right? If you look at a relation in a domestic relation between our friends, professional, everything, okay. So if you look back at the ancient times, right? So what was the power equation? The teacher had the absolute power, in the sense that the teacher was the only holder of knowledge in the universe. Nobody else, not even the king, not even the nobleman, right? So the teacher was at the top of the society. They got all the respect. Consider a gurukul where the student came with a blank mind, okay, and there are no other option, right? Then you can't even take back education, take back knowledge in a material form. There were no books, right, in those days. But then technology came in, different kinds of technologies, invention of paper, invention of printing press. So all these technologies redefined this power equation. So when books came, printed books came, or even printed, handmade paper came, so students can take down notes and take back their home and maybe distribute them to their friends. And the process become spread, like, in a large scale when printed books came. So I need not even go to the Gurukul or the Pathshala. I can read sitting at my home. So that again completely changes the perspective of the relation between. So in all these things, the power of the teacher start dwindling and the power of the student in that relation becomes stronger and stronger. And what we are seeing now is just a continuation. Look at our technologies, you will understand what I'm trying to tell you. I think that explains, So we have to see the relation between a teacher and the student in this light. What's the power equation? An YouTube channel, a blog post, an Instagram post is a competitor to the teacher. The teacher has to fight all these elements, right? Information is free. Nobody has an control on information. The only thing that a teacher can give is wisdom and knowledge. Are they giving it? If they are not giving it, they are not teachers. I might get a call, a job at an educational institution. I can call myself professor. I can call myself vice chancellor. I can call myself a teacher. But if I am not doing those things, I am not a teacher. I think I should stop here. Let's other contribute, and if they are, others have different perspective, they can
So that
contest
was a
and
great run up to from ancient times to today, and you're very right. Uh, the fact that students didn't need to uh, rely only on the oral teaching of the teacher has changed the equation since the time paper came in, right? Even before paper, we had stone carvings and other things, but from the time writing has come in, it has changed it a bit. Of course, in ancient India, the practice was not to write; it was completely oral,
right.
oral and verbal
I
transmission of
think the
knowledge.
Buddhist first, brought this practice of
Yeah,
copying
yeah,
books. Right.
yeah. Correct, correct. Uh, so while all of that is correct, what's happened in the last, I would say, 30 years is that the nature of students has changed, and plus there are a lot of challenges for educators, right? Uh, in other words, what I'm saying is, teachers today are under tremendous pressure. That that is, they face many challenges in terms of heavy workload because colleges may be understaffed, or they have very limited resources, or the amount they're paid is not very much compared to what similar qualified people would earn in other
Right.
industries. Plus, today they're also having to adapt to the new methods of teaching. These are suddenly come in. Like in the pandemic, we saw suddenly everybody had to switch to online media, right? And it didn't work very well, particularly for school students, because the kind of engagement you can have in a physical classroom may not be possible for everyone to develop online. Okay, so that's one part of the story. Second part of the story is if you look at the millennials being people born between 1981 and 1996, and the Generation Z, that is, these are the people who are born between 1997 and 2012. These are two distinct generations. So millennials are those who are now studying things like executive MBA, whereas the Generation Z are those who are in school or in college, right, or just finishing college. So these two, one thing very different about them is both of them are digitally native, right? The millennials were used to using devices right from very young age. Maybe at the age of 2 or 3, somebody gave them a tablet or a computer to play with. And in terms of the Generation Z, that is the people who are born after 97, they have grown up with not just the tech devices, but also internet and social media, which was never there for earlier generations. Plus, the third factor, major factor for both these generations, is that they have grown up playing games on devices, which earlier generations like ours never had, right? We never even had computers, for example. So, leave alone playing. So,
इन आवर जनरेशन कंप्यूटर छोड़ दीजिए, मैं जब छोटे थे मेरे घर में टीवी, हमारे टाइम में सब
correct.
घर में टीवी ही नहीं होते थे.
Yeah, yeah. We all got. I think I got TV in college or something. When I was in college, we had that blue screen TV. You had to open it like this and wait.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes,
see the
yes.
Doordarshan thing for 15 minutes. You would wait for program
Only
to come, right? So,
yes.
these people who have grown up playing games, they are little different from us. That is because of games, their reflexes are very fast. They are able to think much faster. right? They are risk takers because in a game they can die and come back to life. They think even in life it is like that. Uh, then again, they do not respect people just because of age. You have to earn your respect. You have to show your expertise. You have to show your passion for your topic. You should know you're really good, and you should be able to build a rapport with the young generation. So these are things. This is a very potent mix that's coming up now, and this is changing the entire thing. So while of course we have things like e-learning, but experience of last 20 years. So I was working in e-learning in mid 90s somewhere. I was working as a project manager at Kiloska Computers. Uh, so since then to now, while e-learning technology has evolved, but uh, on the whole, it has not been successful. If you look at all these like Coursera and the other online courses, research shows that more than 93% of people who join these courses don't complete it, which means the role of teacher is still valid today. At least when they are facing a teacher, the courses are completed. So I think what we need to do is evolve a kind of hybrid, and hybrid does exist many places, where part of it is e-learning, and part of it is where the teacher comes in and explains the context and clears the doubts and gives them practical examples to solve. The other thing about this Generation Z is that since they grew up with devices and internet and social media, their interpersonal and social skills are somewhat retarded, not retarded, but less developed. So it's up to teachers to maybe form groups and give them assignments as a group so that the interpersonal skills can. So what I'm saying is this is a time where, uh, uh, on the whole, the educators and the educational institutions need to brainstorm and come up with a new strategy for teaching this uh, the Generation Z, because they are different from any generation before them in past couple of hundred or couple of thousand years also. And it's very important to engage them. They are very visually oriented. It's not possible for them to grasp, or they'll just cut you off if somebody is just giving a monologue, just standing talking to them, giving a lecture. They are cut off in 5 minutes. They are not going to absorb any of it. We need to engage them like a peer almost, not stand on a platform and say I'm your teacher so you listen to me, but be like a peer and treat them like equals, and uh, encourage questioning, and make sure that they start learning from first principles, right? Until they understand the very fundamentals, what comes later they will not follow at all. So these are kind of things I think need to change and come in place, and this student engagement should increase. And in, like Dr. Basudha said, there have been these suicides. So I think this putting them in a pressure cooker and building all this pressure is unfair to them, right? After all, the marks that they get is maybe good just for their first job. After that, it is their innate talent that decides how far they go in their career, right? The people who are toppers in every class do not necessarily do well in life. All research shows that. So I think we need to relax over here. Parents need to relax and say, let kids have a life. Don't ruin their childhood. For example, from fifth or sixth standard, they're learning for IITG, right? I think these are wrong practices and we are overburdening them. And we need to release this pressure and find new ways of engaging them and bringing back a love for learning into them.
सर,
Uh,
विकास सर, मैं आपसे ही बोल रही हूँ।
जी,
ये जो कोविड आया, हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में एक अमीर लोगों के लिए, रिच पर्सन्स के लिए प्राइवेट स्कूल्स,
yeah,
और आम लोगों के लिए, गरीब लोगों के लिए गवर्नमेंट स्कूल। आज 99% लोगों का हाथ में स्मार्टफोन है, ऑनलाइन स्टडी हुआ, लेकिन एक अमीर घर के जो लड़का है, उसके पेरेंट्स कॉन्सर्न बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं और बहुत ज्यादा अपने बच्चों के बारे में कॉन्सर्न होते हैं, क्या पढ़ रहे हैं क्या नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन एक गरीब तबके के, उसके बाद भी स्मार्टफोन में पढ़ाई हो रहा है, लेकिन स्मार्टफोन में क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, स्मार्टफोन में क्या देख रहे हैं, वो स्मार्टफोन में तब एजुकेशन ले रहे हैं या यूट्यूब या फेसबुक में देख रहे हैं या व्हाट्सएप में चैट कर रहे हैं, उसके पेरेंट्स को समझने के लायक नहीं है। ऐसे
बिल्कुल।
सिचुएशन में आपको नहीं लगता एक तबके के दिमाग में एजुकेशन ज्यादा, जो फायदा हुआ एक तबके उससे एजुकेशन दूर छोड़िए, उससे मजा लेकर पढ़ाई से दूर हो गया, उल्टे चीजों पे चले गए, ऐसा नहीं लगता आपको?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आप बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हैं। और प्राइमरली इसमें एक और कारण ये भी है कि पूरा एम्फोसिस मेमोराइजेशन पे है कि हाउ मच कैन द चाइल्ड मेमोराइज एंड डिलीवर वर्बेटिम, चाहे उसको समझ आया नहीं आया, नोबडी केयर्स अबाउट इट, एंड दैट्स कंप्लीटली रॉन्ग। इनफैक्ट अगर टीचर्स इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं एंड दे आर गिविंग देम फॉर एवरी टॉपिक, इंस्टेड ऑफ आस्किंग देम टू मेमोराइज, क्योंकि अभी इंफॉर्मेशन इज फ्रीली अवेलेबल, राइट? पूरा दुनिया का इंफॉर्मेशन इज अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन, इवन इफ इट्स इन डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज, यू हैव एआई टूल्स व्हिच विल इंस्टेंटली ट्रांसलेट इट। ऐसा सिचुएशन कभी दुनिया में था ही नहीं कि यू कैन एक्सेस इंफॉर्मेशन, सो व्हाई डू यू नीड टू मेमोराइज? In fact, they should understand the principles and they should be asked to apply. Ki these are this is what you're supposed to learn, whether it is science or mathematics or even if it's liberal arts. Ki this is what we are teaching you, but the question paper we give you will not be based on this. You have to apply different principles and solve a problem. Ultimately, future may the people who succeed are those who are good problem solvers, who are creative thinkers, who can think outside the box, right? Whether they're working as an entrepreneur or they're working as a corporate employee. The problem solvers are going to be the ones who rise the fastest, right? So every boss, so everybody has worked in companies. We don't want to have people reporting to us who bring problems to us, right? We want somebody who will come and say, "Ki boss, ye problem hai," and come with three solutions also. Ki I think we can solve either A or with B or with C. You tell me which one I should do. So that's what we should. That's how we can train people to fit more better into the industry, right? And like you said, कि parents को पता नहीं कि क्या पढ़ रहे हैं बच्चे. The other thing also happening, and this is because I have visited a lot of semi-urban and rural colleges. तो वहाँ पे जो technical education जो पढ़ा रहे हैं, it is not what the real world is using. अभी भी they are learning 8086 chip, or they are learning RDBMS, or they are learning C, C++. But if you look at the big major corporation of the world, including India, they are not using these technologies. They're using some different technologies. और ये कोई सिखा रहा नहीं है क्योंकि you don't have faculty for it. The faculty who teach the new technologies would be very expensive, और शायद colleges के पास उतना budget नहीं है, right? So all of these are
तो
coming to the.
मैं इस बार में एक एक्सपीरियंस बोल रही हूँ।
हाँ जी,
मैं आज से बहुत दिन पहले गई हूँ, मेरे बर्थ 1976 का मेरे बर्थ है, मैं 1976 बॉर्न हूँ। मैं जब
okay.
स्कूल में थे, मैं बोल रही हूँ, मैं जब 7 या 8 स्टैंडर्ड में थी, 89 90, उस टाइम हमारे स्कूल में, गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ती थी। पापा टीचर थे, पापा मम्मी दो टीचर्स थे। खुद हामी घर से नहीं हूँ, इसलिए गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में ही पढ़ती थी। गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से तीनों कंप्यूटर दी गए स्कूल बच्चे को सिखाने के लिए, लेकिन ये किसी को दिमाग में नहीं आया कौन सिखाएंगे। एक टीचर नहीं दिया, और जो टीचर से बोला उनसे ही सिखाइए। वो हमारे टाइम पे जो टीचर्स थे, एजेड टीचर्स थे, वो तो जिंदगी में कंप्यूटर क्या चीज है देखा ही नहीं है। आपको नहीं लगता है इस तरह से वेस्ट बंगाल या ऐसी कुछ स्टेटों में जहाँ गवर्नमेंट के बैड पॉलिसी के कारण जो इस तरह के स्कूल में पढ़ते थे, उस टेक्निकल एजुकेशन में थोड़ा पीछे गए थे? आप
Actually,
दोनों से
student
मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है।
ये ये स्टूडेंट पे डिपेंड होता है, क्योंकि मेरा भी जब तक ग्रेजुएशन तक मैंने कंप्यूटर देखा नहीं था। ओके, ग्रेजुएशन के 10 साल के बाद मैंने पहले कंप्यूटर देखा, बट उसके बाद मैंने 25-30 साल आईटी इंडस्ट्री में ही बिताया। दैट इज इवन दो आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम, आई हैड नो एक्सपोजर टू कंप्यूटर्स इन कॉलेज, बट देन आई वर्कड एट ऑल लेवल्स, राइट फ्रॉम ट्रेनी लेवल टू सी लेवल, आई वर्कड इन आईटी इंडस्ट्री। तो आई थिंक वो इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू, एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो शुड अंडरस्टैंड कि जो स्कूल में सिखा रहे हैं वो बस नहीं है, यू हैव टू लर्न मोर देन दैट। ओनली देन, क्योंकि आजकल कॉम्पिटिटिव है बहुत, मतलब देयर आर सो मेनी पीपल रशिंग फॉर सो मेनी जॉब्स, एंड इट्स इन आवर टाइम्स इट वाज नॉट कॉम्पिटिटिव, राइट? यू कुड गेट लाइक 60 और 70% एंड यू आर कंसिडर्ड वेरी ब्रिलियंट। आज 98% भी बोलते हैं क्या खाली 98 आया, तो पड़ोसी ने 99 लाया, इज व्हाट दे से, राइट? सो I think students
नहीं,
somehow they should
ये
have.
खराब चीज है, मैं बोल रही हूँ। मेरे पेरेंट्स
ये
ने
खराब
भी
चीज है।
देखे, खासकर मेरे डैड में ये थे, दूसरे के बेटे देखो, उसका बेटा कितना अच्छा रिजल्ट किया है,
करेक्ट
तुमने क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे? उसके बेटे को देखो, वो कैसे अच्छा कर रहे हैं। इसको वो भी समझना चाहिए। हालांकि मेरे फादर भी टीचर थे, लेकिन उसको ये समझ नहीं आया, जिससे बोल रहे हैं वो भी एक बच्चा है, उसको भी दुख होता है। दूसरे के क्या कर रहे हैं, उससे अच्छा तुम भी अच्छे करो, ये बोलना चाहिए कि नहीं, वो तुमसे अच्छा कर रहे हैं इसलिए तुम्हें अच्छा करना चाहिए, ये तो ठीक नहीं है।
ठीक नहीं है, बिल्कुल ठीक।
आप क्या बोलेंगे सुमित जी इस बारे में? सुमित जी, यू आर म्यूट,
Mute.
सुमित जी।
Okay. We cannot hear you.
सुमित जी के साइन नहीं आ रहे हैं, साउंड नहीं आ रहा है सुमित जी, आप म्यूट है सुमित जी। हमें कुछ टेक्निकल फॉल्ट हो रहा है सुमित जी से। विकास जी आ
हाँ जी।
रहा है? सुमित जी आपका साउंड नहीं आ रहा है सुमित
नहीं,
जी।
loud आ रहा है, इसमें कुछ टेक्निकल फॉल्ट होगा।
हाँ, कुछ टेक्निकल फॉल्ट हो रहा है सुमित जी से। हम फिर से ज्वाइन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। फिर से ज्वाइन करने की सुमित जी से कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो विकास जी आप बोलिए इस बारे में।
सॉरी, व्हाट वाज द क्वेश्चन?
ऐसा क्या बोलना चाहिए जो पेरेंट्स
नहीं
जो
नहीं, नो,
बोलता है
दैट्स completely
दूसरे
wrong,
के
completely
बेटी?
wrong. नहीं नहीं, so I have never done to my children, nobody should do it. It is completely unfair. Comparison कभी भी नहीं करना, किसी किसी बच्चे को कंपेयर नहीं करना। Every child is unique. They, hello, are you there?
यस सर, आई एम देयर,
हाँ
प्लीज
हाँ,
टेल।
so yeah, so every child is unique, and each child develops in their own speed, right? Some people start walking faster, some start walking after some time, some talk faster, some after some time. So it's like different trees, right? Every tree flowers at a different age, so we can't compare, we cannot compare children. Let's compare. So I'll put it back to Mr. Sumit.
हाँ सुमित जी बोलिए। सुमित जी आपका फिर से साउंड नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ टेक्निकल फॉल्ट हो रहा है आपका। हम फिर से कोशिश कर रहे हैं सुमित जी के जैसे ज्वाइन करने के लिए। कोई टेक्निकल फॉल्ट हो रहा है, उससे साउंड नहीं आ रहा है। हम फिर से कोशिश कर रहे हैं सुमित जी से ज्वाइन करने के लिए। बिकॉज ये एक
Other thing,
एक्सपीरियंस मैं
हाँ जी, हाँ जी,
अपने
बताइए।
लाइफ से बोल रही हूँ।
हाँ जी,
हमारे टीचर्स की बिहेवियर कैसे होने चाहिए, इस बारे में किस बारे में बात करें? पहले बोल रहे थे रैगिंग के बारे में, पहले बात कर लेते हैं। जैसे जादवपुर यूनिवर्सिटी में रैगिंग की वजह से एक स्टूडेंट का डेथ हो गया है, लेकिन आज वही उसको लेकर झगड़ा हो रहा है, सीसीटीवी लगना चाहिए कि नहीं लगना चाहिए। हर जगह पर स्टूडेंट का तवज्जो देना कि सही है, कुछ जगह पर तो अथॉरिटी को भी अपने पावर अपने हाथ में लेना चाहिए ना।
क्वाइट ट्रू, बिल्कुल, कंप्लीटली
क्या
अग्री।
राय है इस बारे में आपके?
आई कंप्लीटली अग्री। मतलब ये थोड़ा दिस थोड़ा री एजुकेशन होना चाहिए, मतलब इंक्लूडिंग पेरेंट्स, नॉट टू कंपेयर देयर चिल्ड्रन, नॉट टू ट्रीट इट लाइक अ रेस। हर बच्चे का डेवलपमेंट साइकिल अलग होता है, राइट? देयर आर सम पीपल हु डेवलप अर्ली, और करियर्स में भी ऐसे होता है। देयर आर सम पीपल हु डू वेरी वेल इन अर्ली करियर, देयर आर अदर पीपल हु डू वेरी वेल इन मिडिल करियर, some others do very well in the ending of career. So everybody has their own pace, और ये ऐसा कंपैरिजन बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए। It's adding unfair pressure and on everyone, not just student, even the parents are getting into the pressure. We don't need to compare. Every child will do well, right? मतलब in this world there is enough abundance for everybody. वो scarcity mentality नहीं होना चाहिए कि अगर अगर किसी और ने ले लिया तो मेरे लिए नहीं बचेगा. There is enough in the universe for everybody, for really everybody. We should not worry about it. So that's my thought.
सर मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस आपसे हमारे ऑडियंस से शेयर कर रहे हैं. दैट टाइम आई वाज एट क्लास 9. यस, क्लास 9, 91 की बात कर रही हूँ. 91 92 के 92 ही शायद बात कर रही हूँ. तब हमारे क्लास में एक लड़की थी जो स्कूल बस में जाती थी. उसके घर स्कूल से बहुत दूर थी, थोड़ा रिमोट प्लेस में थे, क्योंकि हमारे टाइम पे एक अच्छे रेपुटेड स्कूल में पढ़ती थी, कलकत्ता की, नॉर्थ कलकत्ता की. वो बस का जो क्लीनर और ड्राइवर है उसको बस में और आखिर में जाते थे, उसे रेप किए थे. उसके बाद उस लड़की को स्कूल से निकल दिए गए.
ओहो, उसका कोई
आपको
गलती
क्या,
नहीं.
उसका कोई गलती नहीं थे,
उसका कोई गलती नहीं.
लेकिन जो बात हुए थे, हमारे प्रिंसिपल जो थे वो भी एक लेडी थी. उनका भी खुद की एक बेटी थी जो हमारे क्लास ऊपर पढ़ते थे, 1 क्लास सीनियर थे. उन्होंने एक बात बोली कि ऐसे लड़के स्कूल में रहेंगे तो स्कूल का बदनाम होंगे. सिर्फ ऐसा ही नहीं, बाकी लड़कियों को भी खराब कर देंगे. उसका कुछ गलती नहीं हो तो बाद में तो और भी लड़कियां जाते हैं, उसके साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हुआ. आप क्या ऐसी सिचुएशन में क्या करना चाहिए और क्या होना चाहिए. और वो टीचर
ऐसे
आज भी, जो प्रिंसिपल है, आज भी वो पेंशन ले रहे हैं. क्या ऐसे टीचर्स को, प्रिंसिपल को पेंशन मिलना चाहिए?
वो बिल्कुल गलत हुआ. मतलब जिसके साथ अन्याय हुआ उसको सपोर्ट करना चाहिए. मतलब उसका जब कोई गलती नहीं तो स्कूल से नहीं निकलना चाहिए था उसको. उल्टा उसको सपोर्ट करके वी शुड हैव कॉट द गिल्टी पार्टीज, एंश्योर दे आर पनिश्ड. और इनफैक्ट दिस शुड बी डन विद फुल ट्रांसपेरेंसी, ताकि दूसरों को भी लगे कि ऐसा कुछ हो तो इमीडिएटली यू मस्ट रिपोर्ट इट. छुपाना नहीं चाहिए, राइट. लकीली ये थिंकिंग अभी थोड़ा चेंज हो गया 90 से. मे बी अर्लियर टाइम्स में ये था थिंकिंग कि ये लोग क्या कहेंगे, पर फॉर्चुनेटली जो करंट जनरेशन है, दे डोंट बिलीव इन और दे डोंट केयर व्हाट पीपल थिंक. तो आजकल ये सब इमीडिएटली रिपोर्ट हो रहा है और होना भी चाहिए. और अगर कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन रिग्रेसिव प्रैक्टिसेस चला रहा है तो दे शुड बी पनिश्ड फॉर इट. You cannot victimize the victim again, basically. What do you think, Mr. Sumit?
Sorry, I missed the question. Dr. Basudha, can you just briefly touch
हाँ, मैं
upon the
बोल
issue?
रही हूँ, मैं जब स्कूल में थे, हमारे क्लास के एक लड़की के साथ रेप हो गए थे स्कूल बस में. 10 की ड्राइवर और क्लीनर ने किए थे. उस लड़की को जब हम 9th स्टैंडर्ड में थे 92 में, तब उसे स्कूल से निकल दिए गए थे इस बोलकर ऐसे लड़के स्कूल में रहेंगे तो स्कूल का बदनाम होंगे. और सिर्फ ऐसा ही नहीं, प्रिंसिपल ने ऐसा बोला, बस में और
How
भी तो
you
लड़के
contact
जाते हैं और उसके साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हुआ, उसमें ही कुछ गलतियां है.
see,
और जो प्रिंसिपल थे वो फीमेल प्रिंसिपल ही थे,
see,
जो खुद
this
भी एक
issue
बच्चे
is
की
very.
माँ थी.
I understand. See, this issue is very, personal to me because my daughter goes to a school where an harassment case happened, and initially the school authorities, including the lady principal, tried to downplay or deny the whole incident. See, my understanding is that, see, teachers are not trained to handle these kinds of things. Teachers are only teachers of subjects, right? They are not counselors. They cannot handle complex psychological issues, problem, social issues, any kind of thing. They only there to teach. Even the principal or the vice chancellor or the dean of an institution, they are not simply trained, right? And recently there has been a ruling by the court. I don't know whether it's the Supreme Court, whether in which the court said that B.Ed degree doesn't entitle a teacher to handle young minds. So this should not be the criteria of selecting the teachers. This is absolutely my point. Another thing, if we don't have social experience of these kinds of things, we don't know how to react. So the first thing that happened in my daughter's school is the case of denial that happens with everybody. An incident, a very uncomfortable incident happened to us, we deny. It's like looking the other way, right? It happens in many cases, even it might have happened to us. If there's something wrong happening, in the one corner of the street, we just look the other way. Is it not? That's the same thing. We wish we go shift to an alternate reality where this incident is not happening. It's nothing to do with our teaching, nothing to do with the quality of the teachers, because the teachers are not even the person who are supposed to do these things, right? And it's also a societal problem, right? So the issues are much more complex. It's not about the school, not about the teacher. That's my understanding. Yeah, please, if you can give any other perspective.
विकास जी क्या बोलेंगे?
I agree. I completely agree. Uh,
और लास्ट मेरे, आप दोनों लास्ट में क्या बोलना चाहते हैं? लास्ट में
I know, just
और
to
एक
add,
एक्सपीरियंस.
just to add, I think the teachers, teachers in a school or a university or any kind of institution should be, not only sensitized, should be taught. And these things should be subject of a school, right? Sex education is an important thing,
yeah,
right? Those things should be taught. And it's also the duty of the parents. See, you can't teach sex education as a not only as a school subject, and the teacher should not be the only teacher here. The parents should be, and the society as a whole should be, right? So
absolutely.
if the education is not there, how can they, educate or advise others? The issue is very,
So,
really, very tough and complex.
so that's about teacher side.
ठीक.
I think let's look at the student side also. I think let's say some words for what students need to do. So, first of all, so since we all have kids who are studying, one of my children has already graduated, other one is just joined engineering.
Okay.
So, uh, what I would like to say is, first of all, as a student, be very focused, right? And the parents and the educators have to teach them how to be focused by telling them what is in it for them. You have to tell them what is in it for them. Otherwise, if you just say, Ki ye karo, otherwise something bad will happen, that doesn't work on children nowadays. You have to give them a positive thing, not a negative alternative, but a positive one. So teach them focus. Make sure they learn from first principles. That is, what are the fundamentals. ज़्यादातर एजुकेशन में द फंडामेंटल्स आर स्किप्ड बिकॉज इट्स लोग सोचते हैं कि ओनली थियोरी है, नो यूज, बट दैट थियोरी इज वेरी क्रिटिकल टू वट एवर
Right.
कम्स लेटर, राइट? सो टीच देम फ्रॉम फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल्स, then make them train them to be curious, to ask questions about everything. Don't stop them from asking questions, and help them to master creative problem solving techniques, because that is required throughout life. People who cannot
मैं इधर
solve.
इस बारे में मैं आपको इंटरफेयर कर रही हूँ. हम जब
जी.
स्कूल में थे, हमारे टीचर्स ऐसे थे, कुछ चीजें अच्छे थे, कुछ टीचर्स ऐसे थे, कुछ बारे में अगर कुछ क्वेश्चन करे, तुम ज्यादा बातें करते हो, तुम पढ़ाई में खलल डालते हो, ऐसे. लेकिन ये कभी नहीं सोचा कि उसके मन में एक क्वेरी है, इस क्वेरी को हमें सॉल्व करना चाहिए. ये कभी नहीं सोचा, और स्टीरियोटाइप पढ़ा रख के चले गए.
Correct.
See, I have a perspective on this. Mr. Dhawan might have his,
जी.
See, a teacher is not encouraged in any way to answer the query of a one single student. He will get the same salary, he or she will get the same time to conduct the class. So that teacher has absolutely zero incentive. Can the education system provide the teacher the incentive to answer that question?
Well, let me put
See,
it
the
this way.
teacher is not telling the student to shut up. He, the teacher is not trying to stifle the curiosity. She or he is trying just to complete her class, go back. to his teacher's room at that 6:30 time.
Well, I
If
would
the
like to.
teacher start
Yeah,
encouraging everyone an answer, a 30 or 45-minute class will stretch to 3 hours. Can the school, can our society encourage that? If that
well,
encourage, it can in terms of monetary, in terms of other incentive, in terms of an open school, right? So why is ring the bell at a particular time? Give time for the queries to be answered, right?
yeah. So
So that's
I'll
my
answer from I'll answer from my experience. So after working for 30 odd years, I turned to teaching. I like 2 3 years back, I turned to teaching. Okay, so I teach all kind of people. I've taught freshers for companies like Infosys, Barclays, Atos, Intel, RPL Bank. I teach executive MBA. These are people with 15 20 years experience also. I teach them strategic management. I teach them accounting for managers. I teach them entrepreneurship. And last month, I took up a batch of teaching entrepreneurship workshop for high school kids. I had never handled that age before, right? Initially, I thought that itna age difference, how will I manage? But then I enjoyed it immensely, and the kids enjoyed it immensely. So if you come into any of my classes, I encourage questions, but I also maintain a tight line as to I don't let people ramble outside the topic. So they have questions on the topic, and I encourage them to have as many as possible, right? And I spend a lot of time on fundamentals. So maybe my way of teaching is a little different, but what I'm saying is, it has nothing to do with system. It is based on our attitude. If you're an
yes,
educator, it
yeah,
depends on
yeah,
you. If you have a genuine love for teaching, like I found that I really love teaching, right? And I, since I started teaching, I feel that this is something that I've enjoyed more than anything I've done in last 30 40 years. So given that I have a passion for teaching, I go all out to make sure the kids understand. So if by kids I mean even say executive, maybe even the people who are 15 20 year experience are far younger than us, right?
yeah,
So even for them, I tell them, okay, even if we cannot cover it in this class, I am open to do a pro bono, right? Any evening I can spend 1 or 2 hours on Zoom. I mean, technology has made all this so easy. I don't have to go anywhere. Nobody has to come to me, but I'm willing
yeah.
to do it, even if I'm not paid for it. So I guess,
Mr. Dhawan, that's absolutely your personal feeling. And see,
yeah,
what I'm talking about is the system, right? It could be an exception, but the a whole education system cannot run on exceptions, right? There has to be a structure. So
but
I'm
I have come
essentially
across,
talking about the structure that has to be put in
yeah,
place.
yeah, and I think,
See, like consider soldiers joining an army, right? See, hardly anybody joins an army in a country like India for the love of the country, right? They just join the army to just have a decent living standard. Okay, so if the government tells, okay, just go for fight the enemy, because you love the country, I am going to pay you, right? What will happen? There will be revolt, right? Only out of that army, only 5%, person like Mr. Dhawan can still go and fight the enemy, right? Because they love the country. But the system has to be in place, whether I'm providing the real actual proper incentive to the soldiers to fight in a proper in a right condition.
quite true, but not 5%. I would say at least one third are the people who genuinely care. Like only
Yeah,
5% cannot run the army or cannot run the education. I would say one third, or maybe 35 to 40% people really care about what they're doing. They have genuine passion for what they do, and that is what is continuing the system.
right.
If they were not there, then the whole thing would collapse.
Yeah,
At the
sure.
same time, we have people like you're saying who have only joined it for the money, which is okay. Even joining for money is okay, but then do justice to your job. So the thing is, these things can only happen because we don't have good ways to measure it. So if you can't measure something, you can't control it, right? So the proper metrics, the proper KPIs need to come into place to allow the education institutions to ensure and say that, look, if we are paying you, then we expect this back. And the thing is, see, like they do in corporate. So before the training, they do assessment, and after training also they do assessment to see has the needle moved or not.
Yeah.
Same thing can be done in education institutions. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal, right? So did the students pick up something from a class or not? If they're not picking up something from you, then you're not teaching right way, or you don't know your topic, or your method of transmission is wrong. But these kind of metrics and measurement has to come in. That's the only
Yeah.
way we'll get out,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Like you're
And
saying, we cannot
connecting with
depend on,
something. Yeah. Sorry,
we cannot,
connecting with
yeah,
something which was talked about earlier. Like Dr. Basudha was talking about the cutoff point being 99, 98%. See, if everybody is supposed to get 98%, there has to, that means the evaluation process, there's something wrong with it,
correct,
right? So you need to
correct, absolutely,
evaluate in a more holistic way.
correct. There's something completely wrong if every many people can get 99, right? So it should be such that getting 80 should be difficult, right? It cannot. There's something definitely wrong. Yeah, absolutely right.
Or
So
measure, using the different additional metrics. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so
put that
so it is
also
the,
into the
I would say
scheme.
the measurement is lacking. And second
Yeah.
thing, to answer the suicide thing, mental health is not covered in schools. I think there should be regular evaluations to check the mental state of health of children. Just like they have PT class, they should have some MT classes, mental training, right? All of these should be
Yeah.
brought into education system. And so, what I would conclude by saying is there needs to be holistic change all around, not just educators, but also students, also parents, also method of measurement, also the way in which teachers are compensated. Many things have to change before it can come in. But on the
अब जब
whole,
बोल रहे हैं कि मेंटालिटी शुड बी चेंज फॉर टीचर्स
mentality,
ऑल्सो I am telling about our teachers. When I completed PG in Pali language, मैंने देखा हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी में कुछ प्रोफेसर्स जो ऐसा देखा मेरे साथ ही हुआ मेरे और एक लड़की के साथ हमें इनवाइट किए गए एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में बांग्लादेश के लिए लेकिन बाद में उधर के अथॉरिटी से हमें पता चला हमारे कोई प्रोफेसर उसके पसंदीदा कुछ टीचर्स स्टूडेंट्स को लेकर उधर चले गए और बताया गया हमें कि हम लोग नहीं जाना चाहते थे हमें बताया नहीं गया कि हमारे नाम पे इनविटेशन आए
I mean, that's
so
that's
ऐसे भी
happened to
होते
every
हैं
institutions, to every in every sphere of activity.
yeah, 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 absolutely. It's true. Human beings are the same everywhere. And they
Yeah.
have been the same from,
You can
I would
call them teachers, you can call them policemen, you can call
yeah,
them soldiers,
that's
but
human
they are
nature.
all
Human
different
nature.
at the core.
Human nature will override. So at the same time,
See,
I would also like,
technology tools system, they can't really change human nature, and
they
even
cannot, yeah.
laws. Yeah, even laws.
Not,
So we have
not
so much of stricter laws and regulation regarding rape, harassment. But
if
but human
if
nature
you
is not guided by laws, but
if you
our
look at the kind,
tendencies and the societal
yeah,
norms that are being followed.
if you look at the kind of characters in Mahabharata, all of them exist today also. That is, human beings have not changed.
Absolutely,
Our culture has changed,
absolutely.
technology changed, the clothes we wear changed, the language has changed, but human nature has not changed. You'll still find the same kind of people. The Yudhishthir is there, Duryodhan is there, Dhritarashtra is there. All of them are there today. The Draupadi is there. Every human being have not changed at all. So, and we can't try to change people also. It's not possible. Like uh, finding of social scientists is that once a person crosses the age of 3, they cannot be changed. At the most, you can teach them better ways to think, better ways to work, better ways to learn, but you cannot change the person. So that is not a goal. We cannot change people. We should forget about it. We have to change the things around them to ensure that society can get the maximum benefit out of it. So so I would also like to add over here, that I don't want to actually criticize the teachers. I think they're doing a great job, and I would also like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the people who have taught me, not just my teachers in school and college, but also my parents, my grandparents, my friends, even people who are junior to me at jobs I worked at, from whom I learned something. To all of them, I want to, express my deepest gratitude for shaping me into whatever I am today. I think it's due to all of them. So I think teachers, even if you leave the formal definition of teacher. Everybody can be a teacher, and
Yeah.
we can together help to improve the world.
I think lot many people are turning teachers. We don't call them really teachers,
They're
but
already teachers, yeah. So
well,
a manager who is coaching his team, he or she is a teacher,
yeah,
isn't it? Everybody is a teacher, no matter
right,
where you are.
right,
So, uh, so with that gratitude, feeling of gratitude, I would like to sum up my thoughts that I think these people are doing a great job, and we need to help them a bit in terms of adapting to the new technologies, in terms of putting in the proper metrics, in terms of providing some education to parents to release the pressure on themselves and the children. Maybe looking, like you said, rightly said, relook at the way we are evaluating. How come everybody is getting 99 and 100? Something is clearly wrong, right? So maybe we need to make some serious changes there. So, of course, lot of think tank thinking is required, but I'm sure that we are going in the right direction. India is going in the right direction, and
right, absolutely.
I'm very sure we'll reach very good places. Those are
Okay.
my closing thoughts.
Okay, my closing thoughts would be, first of all, before I got disconnected, I wanted to say something which I couldn't. Is that about the competition among the students, right? Dr. Basudha is talking about. See, competition inherently is not bad. The sense of competition is good. It prepares a mind to face the real world. And okay, and if just consider if a sports event is happening, maybe a school sports event, there is competition, everybody wants to win the race. Nobody is telling that, okay, the next one person is my friend, I will just run slow and let my friend win. Nobody does that. So competition prepares us to understand the real world, how it works, and also in that by that extension prepares ourselves when we leave school and join the real world. Okay, so that's one. And wrapping up my thoughts is that we are, I think, the best of the times. We have all the tools and the technologies that a teacher needs. We have lots of them. If we can start using them smartly, we can transform not only the students, we can transform the world, right? And I'm saying it from my own experience, right? Because I've been using all the tools that can be available to a person, right? And uh, and the democratization of education is happened in the sense that knowledge is now free. Information is now free.
Yeah,
So the teachers must elevate themselves to the provider of wisdom and higher knowledge, not information. And anything that can be used is available for doing that. Like I said, is the best of the time, and is for the teachers all over the world.
got
थैंक यू सो मच बोथ ऑफ यू। और दर्शक, आप भी देखते रहिए हमारे चैनल थिंक टेक इंडिया। प्लीज शेयर, सब्सक्राइब, लाइक एंड कमेंट ऑन आवर प्रोग्राम। नमस्कार।
it.
And Mr. Dhawan, I will surely connect with you
Surely, surely.
later.
I would look forward to that.
Thank
Yeah, we have
Okay.
lot of things to exchange for sure. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.